Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Natalie. In today's video, we're going to be talking about common habits that make people instantly dislike you. And not only that, I'm also going to be able to help you overcome, let's say you kind of do these things once in a while or kind of all the time in conversations, but no worries. We've all been there. We've all fallen short. Sometimes I still do. It's always great to be aware of these habits and actually overcoming them and getting better in communication. So if you're excited about that, make sure you like this video and let's get into it. So at the end of the day, we all want to be able to communicate with each other because let's face it, in this day and age, no one really knows how to communicate with each other. And if we do come across someone that knows actually how to let a conversation flow or actually get someone on the same page of things, it's a very small scale group of people that actually know how to do that. So number one is getting defensive. Do you know someone that constantly overreacts about everything? It's like you really just can't have a conversation at all with this person. Like if you know someone like that, if probably that's you. I used to be this way. Sometimes I do fall short. Sometimes I do still do things that people don't like, and sometimes you just can't help yourself. But when you're aware of the things that you're actually doing, then you're starting to actually progress in that area and starting to get better in the area of communicating. So if you find yourself overreacting and reacting to every single thing that's going on, it's best to not always get so defensive over everything, because now people really don't want to be near you. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to hang out with you. So if you actually do want friends and you actually do want to grow your business and actually make money and live free and all this kind of stuff, this one is super huge. I'll be able to also help you out on how to overcome it as you continue to watch the rest of this video. One of the main areas as to overcome this is to stop reacting to every single thing. It's really what I told myself so many times, to not be able to do this constantly, because it's not okay to put your wall up every single time. It's not okay to have, I don't know, I just feel like being so defensive, it's such an ego thing, and it's best to just get rid of it and start to actually like listen to other people and knowing their perspective. Like if you know something is about to rise up, at least be like, you know what, I want to continue to hear you out, but something's going on right now that I have to step outside and figuring out what's going on inside of me. But just try not to be so defensive all the time. I know everyone has opinions, has perspectives and things like that, but if you feel like you're the kind of person that's never been heard by anybody, no one seems to listen to you, well, it's actually because you're not willing to do those things. If you find someone is talking to you but they're becoming so defensive, it's probably also because you are also becoming defensive yourself. If you have two people constantly being defensive with one another, nothing is ever going to be accomplished. You just wasted your time and energy when that energy could have been somewhere that was more productive, and or even just getting people on the same page with you. It's a lot. So it's best to work on that. Don't get defensive over every single little thing. Learn to listen and learn to see it from the other person's perspective by actually listening, not by just hearing, because anyone can hear. But if you actually listen and you ask questions as to why this person is talking, because what I've learned in life is to not take things personal. That for me was super huge. And to be honest with you, when we think that everything is directly towards us, we're not thinking really outside of ourselves. We're just really thinking of this small-minded thinking, and the world doesn't revolve around us. And I thought it did. I used to take things so personally every single time, and it was just draining me. It was exhausting me. I'm like, okay, I realized that, yeah, not everything has to do with me. Not everyone's going to understand where I'm coming from. Not everyone's going to follow what I do, and that's perfectly okay. A lot of times it has nothing to do with you, it's about them. So let's say someone is like saying mean things to you. It's not an attack, it's attack towards them. There's something in their heart that they're battling with, and they got to take it out on somebody, therefore it's going to be you, but it has nothing to do with you. But when you're just listening, they're going to realize how much of a they are. And it's a lot that I can talk about it in this specific area, but That's really the gist of it. That's really the basic of it, is that don't take things personal. It has nothing to do with you. So when I know someone comments a mean comment on YouTube, I know it has nothing to do with me. I literally am like, wow, like you are really shattered, and I'm praying for you, and I'm kind of feel sorry for those individuals too, because whatever that comes out of their mouth is because of them. It has nothing to do with me. So really understand that. Another point is not allowing for the other person to have space to express themselves. This one is so huge that I can like just talk about all day, but we don't have that time. Do you know of anyone that you're trying to say something, you're trying to get your point across, but as soon as you say something, they immediately cut you off? Or if you like take pauses to actually think of something to say, or having that space to actually think for yourself, they always got to say something. I caught myself in this situation many times, and I also realized that I've also was doing this to other people, and it's just not good. It makes you look arrogant, especially you're not having no conversation if you're just talking about you. If you're just talking all the time, there's no conversation happening. But if you take the time to just give this space for the other person to express themselves, you are building bridges. If you are married and you do this to your spouse, you'll thank me later, okay? I know it's the dumbest thing you probably think this is, but if you test it out, give them that space for them to express. And even if they take pauses to think, let them think. I remember my boyfriend did this to me, and I was, we were doing something, and he really wanted to know my perspective on something. And it was like so late at night, and I'm like, listen, I want to go home. I don't want to talk about this. We're going to be here for hours. And he's like, no, take the time to think more. I want you to think deeper. And he just gave me this space for me to just express, and more ideas came up. I was just grateful. I'm like, wow, like who actually cares to even do this? I promise you, not many spouses do this, not many people who have kids do this, but if you do this with your kids, with your spouse, with your friends, with your boss, with your coworkers, when it's the right time, not when you're in the clock, when it's the right time, people are just, that instantly creates trust. You will have one of the best relationships you'll ever have with these people. More trust is going to be being built, more people being on the same page with you, more people are going to follow you. You'll build sales naturally. Your businesses will grow because you're dealing with people the right way and you're in communication. So communication is key, and this particular point is so incredibly crucial that you have to definitely master. Another point that makes people instantly dislike you, and I'm sure you've come across quite a few people in your world when they do this, and that is arrogance. And I can speak on that because truth to be told, I used to be very arrogant, and I didn't like that trait that I had. I didn't like that quality. And so I know that for me, I had to work extra hard in this particular area in my life. And I started focusing more on just being humble. People gravitate to people who are humble. They're not arrogant, or they're not praising over themselves or look for ways to make themselves look good. Like really, that's not attractive. People don't like that. Especially one of my pet peeves when I used to like date guys or whatever, but they would talk about themselves thinking that they're the best in everything, and it was just complete utter arrogance, and no one really likes to be around that. So when you're humbling yourself, when you're letting others talk, when you're creating that space for them to speak, you're not looking for ways to praise over yourself because you're the best and all that kind of stuff. No one really likes that, and no one can really trust you when you become such an arrogant person. It's not best to live life that way. It's best to have a large group of people rooting for you, following you and all that you do, because they know that they can trust you by you being humble and not arrogant. How I overcame being arrogant is just, again, putting myself in other people's shoes when, they're not winning or they're not doing the best that they can in their jobs or whatever. I put myself in their shoes and I understood where they're coming from. I stopped looking for ways to praise over myself, for me to only look good, because you really, you can't relate with anybody if it's always about you. I feel like arrogance, it's always about that person, and they don't really think bigger, to think of other people. So to overcome it, stop thinking that you're the best at everything, because people can't really relate with that. People don't want nothing to do with you, and it's best to stay humble. Like, when was the last time you came across someone who is humble? People love being around those people. So master of being humble, have humility as your best friend, and I'm telling you that you'll have more people that are wanting to be more around you, help you in everything that you have to do. And honestly, in my perspective, I feel like it's a lot better to live life when you're humble and you put yourself out of the equation, and you don't have to look for ways to give yourself recognition. Like, it's okay to like celebrate your wins and pat yourself in the back every once in a while, but when you're like, oh, you know, that thing is so below me, that person is this thing and I'm better than them, you're gonna live a life very lonely. And it's not always good. So I feel like people who are arrogant, and I can speak on this because I used to be a very arrogant person, and I still can get caught up in that sometimes. But if you can recognize that you're like, oh, that was pretty arrogant, that's a very good first step. Honestly, just living life in full humility, the best way to go when you're trying to win in life. If you found this video helpful, make sure you also subscribe, like, and share it with your friends. Comment as well. I'm looking forward to connecting more with you, because you and I are overcomers. I do believe in miracles. I do believe that there is a solution to every single problem. And when you start implementing what's in this video, you're going to see results instantly. All right, so go against all the dislike habits, do the like habits. You'll be better off that way. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.